Call this order of the meeting with the starting with a salute to the flag. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Amato?
Here.
Del Ripa? Graziano?
Here.
Hudson?
Present.
Councilman Julian is excused, and Councilman Yazdi?
Here.
Okay. This is a meeting pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. Adequate notice of this meeting was advertised in the Herald News on April 1st, 2021. Copies were provided to the local news media and posted continuously in the municipal building. A copy of this notice is available to the public and is on file in the office of the municipal clerk. Per state fire code, I'm required to acknowledge that there are 2 emergency exits in this council chambers. The main entrance which you enter through and a secondary exit to the left of where I am seated. If there is an emergency, walk orderly to the exits and exit through the doors down the stairs and out the building. If there's any questions, please raise your hand. We have no non-agenda items. I need a motion to open.
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak, please come forward.
Mayor, so I'm here for the Natalie Court discussion. I don't know if you want to wait until that time to discuss it or bring it up right now.
We'll wait till, I'm going to move that ahead of new business.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just put that off when we get to that, all right? Anyone else? Seeing nobody, a motion to close, please.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Report of committees?
So I've got one for Cannabis Commission. So we met up a couple weeks ago now, I think it was, maybe last Monday. And the main focus was to talk about cultivation. There was general support for it as part of the commission members. There were some caveats that they wanted to make sure were well established in any kind of a potential ordinance that might be raised allowing such a thing. To not allow it to the big players, meaning to keep it more to like a micro business. You know, we wouldn't want something like in Boonton Township where we clearly don't have any space for such an operation. And also pay particular attention to any kind of, I don't know, for lack of a better word, smell ordinances, if you will, and to be very strict and severe for any type of violations of such things. We're working on a memo that summarizes everything that we'll present for the council, hopefully by our next meeting. Just waiting to hear back from a couple people, so I'll keep you guys plugged in on that once we're done.
Okay. Anyone else?
I do. Just spoke with Tom Cantisano from the health department because I'm getting a lot of questions regarding booster shots. As of right now, he really does not have an update, but when and if they do become available, we will be notifying the public via our social media and our website when they start becoming available for the general public. But just to update everyone that we're staying on top of the information coming in and notify everyone when they're available.
Okay. Anybody else? Mike, nothing?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Bree?
Nothing to report, thank you.
No report tonight, Mayor.
Just have one thing to, as everybody's probably seen, the Hamilton Street project is being completed. There's work going on that street to get the sidewalks and I believe the water and sewer lines are already completed through there, so the sidewalk section should be starting shortly. So that project is proceeding as planned.
Union Active.
Oh yeah, Union Ave is scheduled. We have a pre-construction meeting coming up for the Union Ave sidewalks from Main Street to Rafkin Road. Cervelli and Son is the contractor, so that project will be also starting very shortly. All right. Okay. Resolution number 2021 8.1, the consent agenda. Can I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Okay, roll call, please.
Amato?
Yes.
Del Ripa?
Yes.
Graziano?
Yes.
Hudson?
Yes.
Yazdi?
Yes.
Okay. Pending items. Second final reading of public hearing, ordinance number 16-2021, amending Chapter 92 zoning regulations and govern certain uses. Public notice stated, please.
This ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, and copies were made available to the public so that a motion may be made that it be read by title.
Motion to read by title.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 92 zoning, Article 5, regulations governing certain uses of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Okay. Motion to open to public hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak on this topic? Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for adoption.
So moved.
Roll call.
Delariva.
Yes.
Graziano.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes. Okay, second final reading of ordinance number 17-2021, amended Chapter 2-80 flea market fees. Public notice statement, please.
This ordinance was posted in the municipal building, published in the Herald News, and copies were made available to the public so that a motion may be made that it be read by title.
Have a motion to read by title?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 2, Administration, Section 2-80, Fees Charged for Municipal Services of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale.
Okay, motion to open up public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to speak? Seeing no one, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for adoption.
So
So moved.
moved. Second.
Roll call.
Graziano.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes.
Delariva.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to move, under new business, I'd like to move H up to the beginning so we can discuss the Morse Lake issue tonight. This way we have people here that want to talk about it, and then we can continue on with regular business. I'm also probably going to move C and D, hiring 2 new police officers, and that'll give Chief Burrell a chance to get home for dinner.
Thank you.
Okay? Okay. Natalie Court. Let me just give you a little background of everything that went on going back probably 3 weeks ago, I would think, or so, when we had one of our bad windstorms. The Morse Lake entrance was completely blocked with, I believe, power lines that were down. And you guys can correct me if I'm off target here a little bit. Why that happened, we had a call for a possible structure fire in Iosco Lake, and the resident was putting it out with a garden hose. We were completely blocked from doing anything to help that resident out. Luckily, that wasn't the case, and we had a fireman that lives in Morse Lake was able to go there and verify what was going on. After that event happened, and feeling kind of not being able to do anything of what I'll put my other hat on, trained to do as a fireman, and being helpless to help out a resident that could have been very serious. So it got the chiefs and OEM and myself and anybody on public safety, which I spoke to already, to start thinking about how we can get a second entrance, emergency entrance only, into Morse Lakes. And the only way to do that at this time is we have a generator, I believe, on the end of Natalie Court by Tom's house, and an access point directly into, I'm not sure, the street, Overlook? End of Overlook, which, in my opinion, would be obviously for emergency vehicles, only an emergency to get in there if we run into this situation. And it's not just fire. It's ambulance calls, police calls, it could be anything in there that the residents in that side of our town would need assistance. So I've asked the two chiefs and our OEM coordinator to come in, and maybe you can, I'll start with Joe if you want to come up and speak, and Tom, we'll get to you and you can come up and let them speak and give your,
Okay, Mayor, you're absolutely correct in everything you just stated. And just to add to that, it's not just that incident from 2 weeks ago. This has happened in the past. It seems like anytime we have a major storm, Morris Lakes seems to get hit harder than other areas of the town, other lake communities of the town. We have had multiple occasions where we've been blocked off to Morris Lakes, large portions and roads of Morris Lakes, to Lake Iosco. And quite honestly, it's not, just a fire issue. Like you said, it's a medical issue, it's a police issue, but there's a solution. And that solution, I believe, is, at Natalie Court and Overlook Road, there is, from my understanding, an access point, that would allow us the opportunity to get to parts of Morris Lakes and Lake Iosco if we were hindered in trying to get in from Morris Lakes Road or other locations. One time too many. We have dodged a bullet in the past in the sense that a couple weeks ago we had this happen, and the fact that we do have somebody running with a garden hose or us unable to get there, we need to figure it out. And again, these things can happen on any streets, but we have a solution potentially to that problem, or something that would certainly help us. And if we use it once, it's worth its weight in gold as far as I'm concerned. Our weather lately seems to have changed for whatever reasons. Our storms seem to be greater, stronger, and we're feeling the effects of that. With live wires down, trees down, like I've never seen in my time working here. This is the worst year I can recall. And the last 3 or 4 storms that we've had issues in Morris Lakes at some point, whether it's trees on crossing roads, blocking our pathway, on cars, wires down, whatever the case may be, it seems frequent in there. And again, I think there's an opportunity here that we don't ever want to hinder or interfere with, property or aesthetics of somebody else's property, but at the same time, we have to do what's right, even if it's, like I said, just one time is one time too many. And we've been able to weather that storm, for lack of a better word, up to this point, but it's becoming more frequent. We feel there is a solution, and we're just asking the council consider this option, or what options are available. How can we gain access as we need it? And it's a problem. There's no doubt in my mind that we have to do something.
There's also, you guys can come up and talk also, and I drove several areas around there because I grew up there, so I kind of know the area fairly well. The only access point is there. Somebody said to me, well, can't you go around the other side of Iosco Lake and come in? No, there's complete separation. That's why Wanacue covers emergencies, at least on the fire side, off of Doty Road. And there's been times that we've got called there to assist Wanacue for over there. To me, it's just a complete safety thing for our residents, and I understand there's areas where we can't do anything. There's dead-end streets that we can't do anything, but on my fire side, if we had a fire on a dead-end street, I'll use Natalie Court for example. There's only one way into Natalie Court and only one way out, but we can hump, 5-inch hose, 3-inch hose, 1.5-inch hose, and get to any house there from the corner reasonably quick. There's no way to get to Iosco Lake or any place on Morris Lakes reasonably quick by being blocked completely out and waiting for Butler Electric to get there, and we know how busy they were that day. They were all over the place. They did come down, eventually open it up, but you can't really rely on them when it's in storm mode because they are all over the place. And thank God they work as quick as they do, and they work pretty well with all of us. But it's just, I wouldn't want for myself and for Eric or Joey or Mike to be as helpless as we felt that day, and something tragically happened to anybody's home, somebody getting killed, somebody having a heart attack. I don't know what, it could be anything. So it's been on my mind. And like I said, this is a discussion. So if,
Can I also add to that?
sure.
You know, as someone who, you know, was in the emergency medical field for 20 years, I've been on many, many calls where I had to hump in 2 miles to a call and a mile to a call, and it is not fun. And when, you know, your patient is really sick and you don't have access, like, that's a problem. And whether it is a fire call, a police call, an ambulance call, that is not something that if you don't have access, you could just walk in. That could take, if you're on the other side, Buena Vista, or you're, you know, in the other lake, you know, you're talking that could take you with equipment a half-hour walk, 20 minutes, half hour. Then by the time you secure the patient or the call, whatever it is, and you have to get back out, you know, seconds count. And so, you know, I really support this, because I think when there's a problem, and yes, that there is, you know, what happens if that access is blocked? Well, you know, that question has come about. Fingers crossed it's not. I mean, there's nothing you can do about that. How many access points can you provide? But this is, you know, in my opinion, after looking it out on a map, this is our best option. And so, you know, I really support it.
Okay. Mike or Eric, you,
I think Joey covered it
Yeah,
well.
that's what I'm gonna say, yeah.
okay.
I
Did-
mean, honestly, the only thing, I can add is that we, going back, to Sandy, if you go back to Sandy, we had, big trees down there, and the residents from Morris Lakes actually started to, clear them on their own, just because of, we couldn't get back there, so. We've had this same scenario with Campy Lake. They put another entrance in through Star Lake Camp by the dam. So it's happened in other areas, and I think it's a good discussion to have at this time.
Okay, Tom,
Okay.
come on up.
So let me start by saying, first of all,
Name and address.
All right, Tom Marinero, 112 Natalie Court. I respect all of you for what you do and who you are, and as if you remember years ago, I sat in the same desk in the position of you. I also wanted to, I was on the Public Safety Committee, on the board of St. Joe's Hospital. I run the drug prevention program lead, so public safety is literally what I live, but it's different when you're talking about eminent domain and taking someone's property. And I think every one of you would have a different outlook if I was going to take your property, Dawn, and saying, yes, I want to protect Bloomingdale, but I'm taking your backyard. It's a little different story, which you would have to. If you look at the pictures and look at the footage, it's not just a little path with the pump. It's taking the front lawn. So let me just say this to you. There are 30 streets in Bloomingdale right now that you couldn't get to if your street fell down. And by you setting precedents with Natalie Court, it's opening up a serious slippery slope to Bloomingdale. I know there are 120 homes in Morris Lakes, but those 30 streets that I'm talking about encompass over 300 homes. So if you are going to be doing this for Morris Lakes, you better be ready to do this for the entire city of Bloomingdale, because you could be sued. I also want to tell you that on the end of Natalie Court, I don't know if you realize that there's a gas line, a water line, a sewer line, a cable line, sprinkler line, and the pump station.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to cost a fortune. By the way, in 30 years, there's been 2 incidences where people could not get into Morris Lakes. Thank God, both incidents did not have a medical emergency with it. So why Morris Lakes is being targeted as the gold area to do this instead of all the other 30 streets, I don't know. I will tell you that I'm fully prepared to fight this. I have the best eminent domain attorney. I will go to battle. I'm not going to lose my property over this. There could be other areas, and I hope you explore all the other areas. Somebody also told me there could be an entrance from Avalon and a few other areas. So I'm obviously fully against this because I don't want to lose my property. And I will also tell you that my neighbors, including Morris Lakes, are in agreement with me. And no notices have gone out. I know this is just a discussion. I am told, though, however, that if eminent domain and you're borough attorney can attest to this, that if eminent domain is part of the conversation, notices should have gone out to the community. And that's what would have happened, or what needs to happen if this is gonna happen.
Let me just answer that.
Sure.
Like I said, this is a discussion.
Sure.
So what I'm looking for tonight from the blessing of the council, as me and Mike had this conversation, is we would have to get a surveyor out there to see what is Bloomingdale property. We do not want to touch your property.
I think you have to. There's
Okay?
no doubt.
I don't know that, all
I know
right?
that at least 12 feet of my property would be gone.
Okay.
You can see it. I can show you down.
Well, I went up there, I know where your sprinklers are, I know what that is. But there's a, I want to see what is actually Bloomingdale property. This might not be an option,
Okay,
but it might be an option,
I understand.
okay? I don't want to take your property, it's not intimate domain, it's not any of that stuff. We're just looking for a safe way to take care of a problem,
I appreciate that.
okay? So we're not going there.
Okay.
All right, so basically tonight was a discussion to see what I feel, what I saw, what these guys went through that day. I was part of that, not actually down there. I heard it all. This is coming up before, so I said, we need to discuss this and make a decision.
Appreciate it. Was Avalon?
It might-
that or
it was-
considered at all? Avalon?
I have not been down there.
Okay.
The quickest way, because we have a hydrant, we have everything right there, there's water there to dump in the top end. It's the quickest way from any firehouse, well, I shouldn't say it, the lower firehouse is there too. But that could be an option.
Okay.
But this isn't, like I said, a discussion. But I know that's Bloomingdale property, part of it.
Part of it.
If there's enough to get a truck in, it's Bloomingdale property, it might be an option. If it's Tom's property, it's not an option.
Thank you.
Okay? It's not like I'm gonna go down and say, Tom, I'm taking your sprinklers, we're moving it to 15 feet that way.
Appreciate it.
Okay? That's not what this is about. This is just a discussion to see if it is an option. Because we all felt helpless,
Thank you.
totally. So that's not, whatever you heard, that's not what our objective is, to take part of your property.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, and we did have that discussion. I don't, yeah,
That
none of us would want to give that
Never once
impression.
crossed my mind.
No.
12 feet of the property would have to go for you to get a truck in.
Right, but we're just, this is a discussion
It's
to
an
look at
explore.
options, but this is also coming down to a simple, we want to make sure that the
residents are
health and
protected.
well-being, first off, for the residents, and, the protection of themselves, their families, their properties, that's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could manage doing that, and we had no intention of taking anyone's property, but
No,
if we
that's not-
could do it, we want to do it.
Thank you for that.
No. And I know some of the streets you're probably talking about, I'll just use Glenwild Lake, we can come from Demorest Road, we can get South Road. Pine Tree, we can't do nothing about. It is what it is. There's certain areas of dead-end streets you can't do anything about. But there is something we can do to make 100 and whatever homes in Morse Lakes and Iosco Lake safer through Bloomingdale property.
Yeah.
I think we're obligated to do that. So like I said, this is a discussion and that's it. So, anybody else?
Thank you.
Or if you have anything else?
I would just add, that I did personally work with Tom on the Public Safety Committee, and I have no doubt he's always been the biggest, one at that time to support whatever we gotta do for every resident. So we do appreciate where you're coming from, Tom. And we just hope that you understand, listen, if we can get a car in there, it's still
Something.
an opportunity to get a car back there and at least get medical and some type of support, or have a set of eyes in there, a trained set of eyes to, help come to a conclusion or do whatever's necessary. So again, I don't think this was ever meant to take anyone's property.
No.
And that's what we're here for, is
No.
to, explore any option we have available. And my understanding was there's borough property there, so we got.
But we don't know where it starts and ends. I know where the generator is. I know where the brick wall is.
Sorry.
But I don't know how much to the right of that. There used to be a walking path through there before.
There still is.
There is, but the trees are nice and big and all that stuff, because I've walked through there.
And one thing I will disagree with though, Tom, is we've had more than 2 calls in there where we couldn't get to locations. And I don't know where, that came from, that information, but I can assure you we've had more than 2, calls over the last, couple of years where we just haven't been able to get in there. So, it's been more than that. So we're just trying to find a solution. Nobody wants to infringe upon your property.
Thank you.
But
Okay.
we got to explore, that's all.
That's what we're doing.
Okay, so it sounds like, more research to do, to figure out what's really going on, what property is what. We could at least explore it. I think we owe that, right, to certainly the people impacted. So that makes sense.
Who's the person in charge of the exploratory phase, let's say that? If you had to designate one individual, because I'd also like to work with that individual, who would it be?
Basically, it's going to filter through Mike,
That'd be me, Tom.
okay?
And I'd have DMC. Yeah, it's been a long time since karate back in Ponte Lakes with our little daughters.
I don't think he's capable of doing that anymore. So we work through Mike. Basically, I'm looking for support here to to make sure
The
we are
survey.
Bloomingdale property.
We're
And,
gonna spend a couple bucks to
yeah,
have
and
mark the
you'll-
corners.
You'll take
I
care of
just
that.
need- Yep,
with
okay, from
Don.
every year.
Okay.
Mike, and then the other thing I was told, I don't even know where this came from, but you're talking a massive fence, like 6 to 8 feet high by 12 feet wide, which,
No, it was, again, hypothetical, we're talking about just 2 6-foot gates, small, 4 foot, that open up to a 12-foot opening type thing.
Locked.
but I'd
Locked.
also, like, if it does happen and the survey does
Yeah.
prove to what John said, I'd like to be involved aesthetically, because I'm gonna be looking at this freaking thing.
Without a doubt, and I actually wrote that down. I'd get with him involved with bushes along your property, if that's the case, or
Right.
pavers versus pavement,
Appreciate
something
that.
like
I
that.
don't,
So-
I don't wanna jeopardize public safety, but
Yeah.
also there's a living involved. You live on a cul-de-sac for a reason. You spend the
Exactly.
money for that property and, that kind of thing.
And I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate it as well.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions for either our officers or even Tom? Good? Okay,
Thank you, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay. All right. I'd like to move C and D. Do we need to do these separately? Can we do these together? Dawn?
They should be done separately.
Separately? Okay. And then we'll get to the rest of it, 'cause this way I can, okay. Okay, item C, adoption resolution number 2021 hiring of police officer, what's her first,
Alexandra?
Alexandra Moore?
17 will be, is it Mitchell or Michael?
Michael Moore.
Is it
Michael
Michael?
Moore.
Michael Moore, and then Alexandra Morris.
You're gonna have fun with that.
Okay, Michael Moore. Before we vote on that, just so everybody knows, we have 2 police officers that will be retiring by the end of the year.
Right.
So we have 2 cadets that are actually in the academy as we speak. You, go ahead, yeah.
One is in the academy with a graduation date of September 29th as an alternate route candidate, where she is putting herself through the police academy. The other is a Class 2 special police officer in Haledon, where he has put himself through the Class 2 special, has been 4 years on patrol in Haledon, but we would have to get a waiver to send him back to the police academy for 26 2-hour classes. But he's a Class 2 special for the Haledon police.
Okay. And the one advantage is that he's ready to be, he's on the road. He's road ready.
Completely, short of,
Okay.
knowing our streets,
Right.
he's completely ready for the road.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. So do I have a motion on the floor for hiring of our first police officer?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Hudson,
Yes.
Yazdi,
Yes.
D'Amato,
Yes.
Del Ripa,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Okay. Adoption of resolution number 2021-818, hiring of police officer Alexandra Morris, excuse me. I think I would have wrote that down.
Second.
Who made the
Roll call,
motion?
please.
Ray?
Ray and Dawn.
Yazdi,
Yes.
D'Amato,
Yes.
Del Ripa,
Yes.
Graziano,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes.
Okay. We're good.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Joe. Good stuff.
Yep.
You're going to get me confused, Mayor.
I'm getting myself confused. That's all right.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Okay. Adoption of resolution number 2021-815, payment of the bills. Have a motion on the floor.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
D'Amato.
Yes. With
Delariva.
the exception of vendor 01463.
Delariva.
Yes.
Graziano.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, adoption of resolution number 2021-816, authorizing a shared service with Pompton Lakes Board of Education. Mike, you want to talk to that?
Yeah. So that one, I was approached by the Pompton Lakes Board of Education. They have 5 vehicles. They know that we take care of all of Pompton Lakes with our previous shared service with the town. They want to try and jump on board with that, so we have a separate contract with them now we're looking to put in front of you to take care of those 5 vehicles. They're all like 2015 and newer, so there's no major concerns there. And all we did, we just took the going rate off of one of our other contracts right now, and it's going to grow by 2% each year. And it'll be a couple hours a year for each vehicle. It's not going to be a big windfall, but it's something. And we get to help out our neighbors as well, so.
Okay. Need a
Yeah,
motion?
it looked like, sorry, just that, in general, that they would be covering most of their own, well, all of their own expenses, it sounded like, right?
All it is labor.
Yeah.
Yep, they buy all of their own material, and they purchase it themselves. In the beginning, our old contracts, we would buy it, and it just ended up being a nightmare, so all of ours have been redone where the shared services buy their own. We tell them what we want, and they pay the bill to the vendor we get it from.
Right.
And then we just charge them for labor.
Okay. Okay. Need a motion?
Second.
Roll call?
Delariva.
Yes.
Graziano.
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Yazdi.
Yes.
D'Amato.
Yes. Okay, item E, introduction of bond ordinance number 18-2021, various capital improvements. Have a motion to read by title.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Bond ordinance providing for various 2021 capital acquisitions and improvements by and in the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, appropriating $1,970,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $1,429,000 bonds or notes of the borough to finance part of the cost thereof. The second and final for that will be September 7th at 7 p.m.
Okay. Item F, introduction of ordinance number 19-2021, establishing Chapter 37, Article 1, 100% disability veterans. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, establishing chapter of the Borough Code to establish Article 1, 100% disabled veteran tax refunds. The second and final for this ordinance will also be September 7th, 2021, 7 p.m.
Introduction of ordinance number 20-21, amending Chapter 92 zoning, BCD, building facade standards and guidelines. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
All in favor?
Can I have discussion on that?
No.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's introduction. You gotta
Okay.
do that next month.
What?
You have to do that next month. It's an introduction,
Why can't we have discussion about it?
because that's not part of the process.
Okay.
Generally, there's not discussion on an introduction.
All right.
Okay.
You just need like an all in favor.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
An ordinance of the Borough of Bloomingdale, County of Passaic, State of New Jersey, amending Chapter 92 zoning of the Code of the Borough of Bloomingdale. This ordinance will be referred to the Planning Board, so it'll be scheduled for adoption September 21st, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Okay. All right. Motion for late public comment.
So moved.
Second.
Anyone wishing to come up?
I didn't think I was gonna have to get up. Linda, I'm the 86 Glendale. My concern is with what you're saying, the cannabis committee, about a smell ordinance. Well, where does the smell ordinance gonna be? I mean, we deal with the smell from the mulch, and that's terrible, and nothing's ever been done about it. So I'd like to know if it's gonna be the same kind of smell is gonna be okay, or if there's gonna be no smell anymore.
Yep, so I can take that, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead, that's fine. That's
So,
good.
a couple differences, right? So first, anything that's cultivation, it has to be done indoors. So you're not talking about in the open, kind of a mulch pit, right, that's sitting in the middle of a field, basically. And so there has to be specific types of mechanical work that go on that suction in the different, ventilations and things like that. I'm not going to do justice speaking to it, but overall, what I'd say is that's the main concern when it comes to the commission. And so that's what we want to make sure is fully explored first. So that way we have something that really puts the business on the hook. One, if there's any breaches for whatever reason, but then also making sure that they have the best kind of equipment that's in there, because we don't want to smell this at all.
Because I've been seeing a lot of it on TV. I don't remember what town it was that has it, where it's just, they are just adamant about it. And the company said, well, we have all this air purifying equipment to take care of it, and it's not helping, and people get sick from it too. So.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone getting sick. I do know in other states where they have it outdoors, it's particularly like really big fields, that has certainly been a concern when it comes to the smell, because there's really nothing you can do, right? It's outside. I have heard folks that are in upstate New York that live right next to a cultivator, and when it came into town, everyone was against it, and this gentleman actually lives right next to it, and he says he doesn't smell anything. I tried to go this weekend to the facility that's down in Boonton Township to see if I could smell it. I missed it. It's a long story. But either way, I do plan to go down there again, because I think that's again, something huge and we wouldn't have capacity for in our town. But I want to go there and I want to check it out and see what it's really all about, if I can smell anything. See, I've already talked to some folks from the town, but see if I can get some more information on it. But I think in general, yeah, we need to know more first.
If we introduce this smell ordinance, is it going to also cover the mulch?
It
The
won't,
smell
no.
we get from the mulch?
I would think these are two different things.
The ordinance that would be strictly for this, and we're exploring that, is we want to cover from A to Z in it. So we are looking, or actually Fred's office is researching other towns that have ordinances, so we can kind of pick and choose from theirs, so we don't run into problems like this.
And it wouldn't
But this is
necessarily,
strictly for cannabis.
right, it wouldn't necessarily be a smell ordinance. I know that's how it was referred to, but what it would be restrictions and requirements for regulating any odor that was emanated from the process of cultivation. But again, we don't have any guidelines from the state. We don't know where any of that is gonna go. We are looking into everything. I understand your concern about the mulch, but it wouldn't just be a general ordinance for the whole borough regulating all odors and smells. It would strictly
Consider
be.
doing something for the mulch.
Well, let's get,
Suggestion.
Okay.
okay. Anybody else? Seeing no one, motion to close?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have nothing in executive session. I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Our next meeting is September 7th, and then September 11th is a candlelight walk.